Okay, the other elephant in the room in this is line 6. And I could do a whole nother study that nobody in this room, including myself, wants to do, that tell you about MISO, which is the Midwest Independent System Operators, which is part of an RTO, which is a regional transmission organization. To kind of do this in a Reader's Digest version, is MISO is a way of socializing transmission, regulating transmission projects to where basically all the costs of all the transmission projects in the region are thrown in a bucket, and then there's spit out what each person needs to pay of that portion. Now, is it a perfect science? I don't believe so. Is there any big benefit that I've seen to Lakeview or other communities? I don't think so. I can say that confidently in a public forum. I have yet to see benefits from this RTO. But in the case of Lakeview, it's another thing that is outside of your control, because once Mid-American went into MISO, you're in Mid-American's transmission area, so that means you're automatically involved with MISO. So even if you change power suppliers, I mean, you're there, because your transmission area went with MISO, so you by default went with them, and it was outside of your control. So how does this affect Lakeview? Pure cost. If you see a benefit in the next few years, I don't know. If you will, I don't know what that benefit would be. All I can tell you right now is what the numbers are. And the numbers are line 6, and you can see those are costs you did not have before. So you can see where that 39.7% in line E is coming from. That's including those extra transmission charges. Transmission is, the electric industry in the past 30, 40 years had economies of scale, meaning it made sense to build generation, build transmission, because you were tying into big population zones, or you were getting economies of scale. Now we're in a constrained industry, which means now transmission has become so expensive. A 115 kV, which you don't need to understand what that is, but it's one of the main grids that serves loads from area to area, is about $1 million per mile. Well, you guys know, and you're actually on 69, but I bet you that's still about...
The 115 feeds our 69.
Yeah, and so your 69 is still probably around $600,000 a mile. The point being, guys, is it's just like the roads industry when we built all the interstate system in the 50s and 60s. Well, the life of concrete's about 40 or 50 years. The life on some of these lines and transformers and things like that are back in the 50s and 60s as well, and they're starting to age. And so what we're seeing is this big cycle of a lot of costs coming up, as well as regulation. And I won't get too much into it, but basically this part of the country has been the benefit of a lot of coal. That's more so in Nebraska and the Dakotas than Iowa, but still what's happening is as more coal is regulated, and there's going to be more financial pressure upward in the Midwest on electricity. Basically right now, guys, on the coast, for example, your average residential retail electric rate's about 7 to 8 cents per kilowatt hour. On the coasts, it can be anywhere from 22 to 23 cents. So I know that doesn't make you feel better when we start proposing these increases, but the bottom line is we're in the area of the country, again, very cheap electricity, but we have a lot of upward pressure right now. And it's because of transmission, socializing transmission costs. It's due to hydro droughts, and it's due to a lot of pressure on coal. And Mid-American is still very coal dependent, even with all the wind they're building and everything like that. And so is Mean, so is MPB, so is the Midwest. They're all dependent on coal. And it's been a big benefit for a long time.